Freezing carrots is a great way to preserve them for winter eating. So we use frozen carrots for stir fries, carrot hash browns, and they're great in soups. So in 6 easy steps, you can make frozen carrots to eat this winter. So today I'd like to show you how we freeze our carrots for winter dinners. All right, so number 1 is we start with a large pot of water because we're going to blanch. So we get our water boiling. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. So that's where you start. All right, number 2 is you want to wash your carrots, and then we're going to cut them. So I have carrots, lots and lots of carrots. I put the really, really good ones in the root cellar so we can just eat those fresh all winter. But then sometimes I get carrots that are like this one has split. This one broke when we were digging it up. This one has a split in it and it's really big. And like this one, it rotted just a little bit under the soil. And so these are not good carrots for the root cellar. And so what I want to do is go ahead and freeze these. Also, the little carrots are not that good for the root cellar. So I want to go ahead and freeze those and preserve them in the freezer instead of the root cellar. So you have a couple choices. You can peel these if you want to. I prefer to eat the peels because that's where a lot of the nutrients is. And so the next thing that I want to do is to cut these. So I want to cut these into coins that are about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm looking for consistent sizing because we're going to blanch these. And when we blanch these, we want that heat to go all the way through. If you don't blanch your vegetables before they go in the freezer, the enzymes in the vegetables, they just keep ripening, and then sometimes you get some really weird vegetables coming out of the freezer, so you want to blanch everything. So we're going to cut them all down to size. So if I got a big one like this, you know, when you pull your carrots, they're all sizes, and this to even smaller. This big guy, I'm going to get it down to about the same size as this carrot. I'm going to cut that there, and then I can just go ahead and what I call coining. You can coin these, and you can see that this size and this size are fairly similar. And so that's what we're looking for is, you know, can we cut these down to similar size so that when we do our blanching, they all get cooked all the way through evenly. So I'm just going to chop up a bunch of these carrots, and then we'll go over to the stove and we'll get these blanched. All right, I got my carrots all cut up. They're all similar sized. I cut out any bad spots I don't want to eat. I did leave the peel on because I do want to eat that. So these are ready to go into the boiling water, and the water is boiling now. So we're just going to take our carrots. Now, if you will take your bowl and you'll put it almost down in the water or even in the water, you can slide those carrots in without it splashing up and burning your arms. So it's just something I've learned over the years. All right, we're going to put the lid on that. We're going to bring this back to a boil. And why we want to do this is to kill those enzymes. This is blanching. And we want this to come to a full rolling boil. We want it boiling good. And that way we know that the heat's gone all the way through. And then when the carrots come out of here, we're going to put them in the sink in cold water. So we can be filling our sink with cold water while we're waiting on the carrots to boil. All right, so we got our carrots on a boil, and we're going to let them boil for about a minute. So if you would like to get more fruit and vegetable preserving recipes, you can get our fruits and vegetables preserving guide, and you can find it at thelivingfarm.org/high-performance-garden-show. From there, you scroll down the page to find the sponsor section, and you can get your ebook there. I'll also put a link in the description below so you can go find that. All right, we're ready to pull our carrots. And what I have here is my strainer, and we cut the little loop off. It had like a hanging loop. We cut that off so I can get in here and scoop really easy. And what we're going to do now is we're going to transfer the carrots from hot water to cold water. Now, our tap water here runs about 38 to 40 degrees, so we can just use tap water. But if your tap water doesn't run that cold, go ahead and throw some ice in. Because what we want to do is we want to stop the cooking action on these. So we don't want to cook them all the way through. We're basically just killing the enzymes, and then they're going into the freezer, and they'll still be fairly firm as they hit the freezer. So we want to get all that cooking stopped. So we're going to dunk them in cold water. All right, carrots going in the cold water. And we're just going to let those sit for a few minutes until we can pick them up and they'll be cool to the touch. All right, the carrots are cool to the touch. So what I'm going to do is just pull the drain plug up and let this water drain out. Now, if you don't have a sink and you're in a bucket, then just put it in a strainer because you want to get all the water out before we start packaging. All right, so I got the carrots out of the sink and they're just in my strainer in case they want to drip a little bit. The next step is number 6, and we just want to bag the carrots so that they can go into the freezer. So we have a couple choices on how to freeze them. One, we could use a hard-sided container, and you're just going to put those in. Then the advantage of the hard-sided containers is they stack really nice in the freezer. So you can do this. One thing that will happen is you can see that there's space in between the carrots, is these will ice up a bit. So in a container like this, they'll probably last about 4 months, but do expect some ice when you do that. But like I say, really nice to stack. Next is just a freezer bag, and you can put them in a freezer bag. They will keep probably about 6 months. They'll still be pretty good in a freezer bag, so you can do that. And the one thing about the freezer bag is you want to go ahead and push out as much air as you can. So you want to zip that shut, and you want to push out some air as much as you can so that that's a little bit tighter. About 6 months storage on this. Now, if you want long-term storage, 6 months or longer, even up to a year, you want a vacuum seal. So this is a vacuum seal bag. So you just put your carrots in there. Whoop, carrots are flying across the kitchen. These carrots will keep a long time, as long as the vacuum seal stays. I'll be right back. I'm going to go vacuum seal this. All right, so here is our carrots all vacuum sealed. There's no air in there. This is nice and tight. This will hold for a long time. We had a bag of broccoli that I found in the bottom of the freezer this year, and that thing was 12 years old, but it was still sealed like this. We got it out, and I'm like, I'm either feeding it to the chickens or I'm going to eat it. And it was great. We ate it. It was fresh. So you can seal for, or you can store for a long time with the vacuum sealed bags.